Hello, teacher. Good evening. My name is Giovanni Cruz. In this short presentation, I am going to explain about dead versus stick language. Well, again, that is the pleasure to share with the Magister Nina Nesterenko. She is our teacher in this important subject, Introduction to Linguistics. Let's start. So, understanding the difference between dead and extinct language requires peering into the fascinating realm of linguistic evolution, right? Both are means language that are no longer actively spoken. So, for example, when I am talking about dead and extinct language, that means that many people are not using them or are not speaking anymore in a different country, culture, community, okay, etc. That is the meaning of dead and extinct language in general term. But now I have the main explanation about the language. Dead language, according to Gong and Steven 2001, an extinct language or dead language, remember that is one that does not have any native speaker, even it is continued to be used in certain areas, right? So as I told you before, many people are not using this kind of language. For example, Spanish, okay. Many Ecuadorian people are not using Spanish. That means that they are not speaking anymore that language, right? However, in different areas or in different countries could be like Mexico, Argentina, it's possible that Spanish um, um, is using by many people, right? So, two important arguments in that language traces in the living and lingering echoes, right? So, that language often leaves their mark on the descended English. For instance, bears undeniable traces of its own English ancestor. In the case of linear echoes, that language can even find new life in liturgy, religion texts, or academic circle. So it means that you can find in different academic texts or religion texts, right, in liturgy, you can find probably many words that they are extinguishing. Now, remember that Sanskrit in my previous unit, I learned about that this language was used by many people in India. So the history is about that many Indian people traveled to Asia and the language was mixed. In this case, Sanskrit was used by many people in that year, right? So that is the example how can you interpret about that language. A singing language. So unlike their that counterpart, extinct language have vanished entirely. That means that no native speaker or living community exists to carry their torch. Yeah, it is like similar to that language. When somebody is not using the language, that means that he's he's not using this language anymore, right? So as stated by Nero and Daniel 2012, language like Etruscan and Akkadian fall into this category. So it's probably that you are thinking about a extinct language. However, so I put this kind of language, Etruscan and Akkadian, right? Akkadian was a language spoken in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Israel, Egypt, in that continent. So I was born in 1990, but I got some information about this language. So I understood that Akkadian language fall in this category. That means that in that continent was spoken by some people, right? Reconstructing extinct language means rebuilding a shattered mosaic, right? So the distinguishing of a language eraser an entire culture, okay? So if a language is extinguished, is probably not is probably is a certain word. It means that all the culture, all the communities, right? All the everything in that language is going to be extinguished. For example, history, songs, poems, everything, okay? Everything that a community could be have. Consequence of disappear language. Now, the loss of any language did or extinct represent a cultural impoverishment. Here is why. According to Grenoble ATAL 2008, linguistic diversity is a half form of human experience, reflecting the richness of our thoughts and perspectives. Each language represents a unique window into the world, into how a community perceives the world. For example, in my case, I am Ecuadorian, yeah, right? So I speak Spanish, but I am trying to improve my English. However, it's necessary that I speak both or more language in order to get a better life, new job, new project, everything. That is the reason when a person has the opportunity to speak two or more language, right? Because a language open a window into the world, you can get everything, right? So, indigenous language often hold vast stored knowledge about traditional medicine, ecological, and sustainable practice. For example, in Ecuador, we have some indigenous community that many people cannot know about them because it's very difficult to get inside there. However, many Ecuadorian people have learned about our ancestors because when somebody has an illness or somebody is sick, we try to connect with the environment. We get some plants, and in some cases animals. That is the cure for many illness, right? Persevering linguistic tradition. By nurturing a single language and piecing together fragments of our lost ones, we can keep the vibrant tapestry of human communication alive for future generation, right? That means that, for example, in in all cases, that's right that we are not speaking or using language that many indigenous people speak, but it doesn't mean that we are not going to learn about them. It's necessary that the government, Ecuadorian government, puts new rules in order to learn all the indigenous language. The idea is that at the moment when we learn indigenous language, the idea is that we need to share with our children, with our family, and the rest of the people in order to learn this kind of language. That means that many people will learn about them, and probably that they are going to share this kind of language, right? That part means in the case of my example, right? Remember that if you learned about Asian language, you need to share all the information. You need to share with your family, with everyone. You need to share with the future generation in order to preserve that language, right? So we have the reference list. I researched some authors in order to get this kind of information. Well, teacher, and that's it. I hope you have enjoyed my video. Thank you very much.